And then... It's been like a month. I thought I was free. Why do you keep bringing us back?
We're not done the DM's work.
The DM's work is never done.
Never done. I can't hide the tears. I'm actually kind of excited.
Me too.
It's been a bit.
I miss you guys.
Yeah, we miss you. I don't miss you, but that's okay because
I don't miss me either.
You're here anyway. Hi, welcome back to you. Welcome back to you.
Yes.
Welcome back to us. It's been a while since we've been at this little table here.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, let me just start reading the note.
Okay.
Might as well.
A note.
Read this note or be destroyed. Read exactly what's on this note or be destroyed and replaced.
Trixie.
Cantrips. Welcome to Caffeine and Cantrips, the show where we talk about D&D
Or else.
Hi. We've been away for a while. And you know what's good to do when you've been away for a while?
What?
Get back to basics. So, whether you're an aspiring to be dungeon master, a veteran who's practiced your craft for ages and eons lost, we all can go back and celebrate reworking our fundamentals.
Yes.
So today, we're talking about just that. How to build your own campaign 101.
And welcome back to Caffeine and Cantrips. I'm Sean, and this is Byron.
That's me, yeah. Thanks for the introduction.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
For you,
For me.
almost anything.
Truth.
Like you said in the spiel,
I just read the note.
you still said it.
Gun to my head. I just read the note.
Today, we are talking about how to start your own campaign. Basics. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. You may be a longtime player, and you're like, this DMing thing seems fun. I don't know how to start. When it comes to the nitty gritty stuff, like how to build a country, how to, build a city and a story, like there's that content out there already.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to add some extra stuff that you can't typically find out there. Some extra value there.
Oh, maybe.
On top of that.
Maybe we'll start like that and then we'll just go somewhere else.
We always do.
I don't think it's necessarily just limited to that. Like you said, maybe you've been a player for a while and now you want to try your hand at DMing because you're about to finish your campaign, your module, your one shot, whatever. Maybe you have never played and your group of friends is just getting together and somebody's got to step up and be the DM and you've heard terrible, horrible things about it. And now you're just looking for help, anyone that will throw me a lifeline.
Or maybe you are a DM, a beginner DM, and you tried it and you're like, something was missing.
Not for me.
I want to go and see what it was I was missing or maybe how I can improve.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, listening to this talk, stay tuned. We'll give you some food for thought.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And everything that you need is just caffeine. That's like half the name of the show.
Right?
Yeah, just straight up caffeine your way through it.
It's true.
Yeah.
If you could cantrip, show me how to do it.
If you could.
Tell me how to do that.
Come join us. Tell us. Okay, well, I think I'm going to get started.
Do it.
And just like the days of yore where we're just starting to play with toys and whatnot, we start with our building blocks.
No.
Aww. And I think if you're anything like me, you've already messed up.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. He's touching the dice already, guys. I think this messing up is something that we all do. We're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to have difficulties and issues in what it is that we're trying to do because we haven't done it before. Or if we have, we're trying something new and we're pushing on those boundaries into a space where we're not comfortable. We're no longer masters. We're now back to being brand new adventurers in our own story. So I think it's really important when we're doing this to understand that as we move forward into these unknown areas,
okay,
we're really a guide without a guide. We're
The blind leading the blind.
We are, in fact, despite our best efforts. And that's okay. It's okay to feel a little lost. It's okay to feel a little unsure about what's going on.
Is it because the DM is the guide for the...
Well,
for
the DM is technically
campaign?
kind of the guide, right? And there's nothing to guide you, or is there?
Well, and if you look at the DM as a leadership position, most leadership positions don't have anyone to really lead them because you are the leader.
Right. You work on whatever somebody else is giving you, a mentor or whatnot. But in this case, if you're hacking through the jungle, setting your own trail.
Through the jungle.
Right. You might need to start with something that you don't need. And that is going to be, I know, I'm sorry. But that's going to be a DMG or a Dungeon Master's Guide or equivalent in whatever system you're playing. Do you need it? Absolutely not.
No.
But does it help? It might, right? It might help you to understand some of the rules, some of the ideas. Maybe that's just you're gonna read it and then you're gonna glean inspiration from it and you go, oh, that's what I want to have in my campaign. I want to have this flair, this thing. I want to track all the weight and all the rations and all the gold. Or maybe you don't, right? And these sorts of things.
I want to do all the downtime.
All the downtime. We're just gonna downtime. We're not actually gonna adventure. It's slice of life.
I want to know about all the deities. Wait, I don't know anything about the deities after reading the DMG.
They're all bad. So it's an interesting thing, but don't necessarily think or prescribe yourself to have the crutch of needing the printed material in order to cement your position behind the screen. It's not required.
No.
You don't need to know it. You don't need to study it. Should you have a grasp on it? Maybe a little bit, right? But do you need to know it cold? No. No, right? That's not necessarily, it is one of the functions that a DM can offer, but it's not required. So if you have a great story to tell, you tell the story.
Yes.
And we'll figure it out as we go along.
Well, the expertise will come the more you do it, right? Because you don't have the expertise when you start. You're not going to.
No.
And you have to start. You have to do it.
You're not supposed to, right? This is exactly what I'm saying, is you need to guide yourself into the unknown without necessarily someone there to help you, but there are people to help you.
Just got to jump.
And those are the people. Don't jump. Those are the people.
Into the story.
Into the story.
Into the role.
Into the role, yes. So one of the things that you might be asking yourself, since you now know that you may or may not need a DMG or equivalent, is how are you thinking about what it is that you're trying to tackle?
I am asking myself that.
I think that we break down our idea of starting a new game. I think this is the reason why this is part one, is because we are starting to build a campaign. That's what this is. Build a campaign 101. This is before you have all the other kind of boundaries and anchorings that are slowing you or stopping you from doing certain things. This is the boundless area of creativity that we're entering into right now. So when you're thinking about your story, do you think small to big, or do you think big to small?
The story specifically?
Not the story, but the campaign
itself. Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you have this beautiful, like, Tolkien-esque Lord of the Rings, massive epic fantasy going on? Do you have a one-shot that takes an hour to play, right? What is the story that you're trying to tell? What do you see? Remember, this is your world. Even if it's a module, this is your world. This is your choice, okay? However you think about it, it's not wrong. That's just how you're thinking about it. I want to know how you're doing that, because it's going to matter in the long run how we start working on this campaign.
Well, and there's no wrong way, like you were saying, right? Because some people naturally start small and work up. Some people work big and then work down.
Right.
Right.
And we proved that in a previous episode as we Disney princessized.
What is wrong with you? How do you start there?
Exactly the same, completely different.
Yeah.
So however you do it, big to small, small to big, I think, to remind you, if you're new at this or if you're revisiting this to practice sharpening these skills, at this point, when we're imagining the campaign, its first iteration, let there be light sort of moment.
Ooh.
I think we need
Made in the
to
image of
focus. We need to focus, present tense, on the forest, not the trees. I think at this point, it's time that we get into the broad strokes, into the idea that we're working on everything, not necessarily simultaneously. Maybe we're going to shift our focus around, but we don't need to get hung up on the nitty-gritty details at this point, because we're living in the idea of conception and the role of creativity in generating all of this new stuff, right? This is working on the practice of finished, not perfect, right? Having an idea and putting it aside and moving on to the next idea and moving on to the next idea and moving on to the next idea, because we don't know what we're going to end up with now, right? This could turn out completely opposite to what we thought, just in the way that we go through it. We really don't know what the finished product looks like at this point. And I don't think you can, even if you're using inspiration and motivation from things that have crystal clear points in your mind that you're drawing off of, that combination is still formless. The combination still doesn't have a necessary endpoint that we're looking at.
Well, and that's the fun thing about designing a new campaign too. It's like, are these ideas going to bring me to? What's this cool creative thing that's going to come out?
As long as it doesn't overwhelm you.
That's why you start.
That's why sometimes we start small and we grow big, because we need to control that evolution of our thought. Sometimes we need to have a whole map of an entire continent in front of us, and then we go, oh yeah, it's all coming together, right? However it is that you start there, but just be aware of not getting yourself overwhelmed by drawing in all the tiny details, but starting your campaign over here, right? Like it doesn't work, and it's only going to cause you to kind of burn yourself out or give you the wrong feeling as you go through it, because you will be grinding up that hill Sisyphus style. And that ain't no fun. So the thing that I never knew, but I always did, when developing campaigns.
You didn't know, but you did know.
I didn't know it.
You didn't know that you knew it.
I didn't know it, but I did it.
Okay.
Right? Is as
instinct.
The DM. Is to answer the question, what do I want? I think as the game runner, the DM, the leadership position, quotations around all of those, I think quite often we sometimes forget that we need to have fun too.
Yes.
And that's not fun by like beating down the PCs. That's not fun by making all the players cry. That's not, it might be. Both of those, it might be. It depends on your table, right? Some people like a good cry.
Beat me down, please.
But it's very important that what we're developing has to be fun to us. Now, unless you're building something that you're selling off to a third party that's going to publish and whatnot, and it's fun for other people, you still kind of want that product to be fun enough that you would play it, or else why are you making it? Right? Why are you putting your name and attaching it to that?
Well, and it's going to be a decent chunk of work, so hopefully you're passionate about whatever you're creating. It'll push you through, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's why, as we're developing this, as we're answering these questions, as we're making decisions, small, big, big, small, where do I want to start? What do I want to feel? Broad strokes are going to make for a better big picture at this point, right? The layers, the detail, that's going to come in later. And we need to give ourselves permission. You can asymmetrically build your world. That's perfectly fine. Whole bunch of time and development over here. Why? Because that's where my campaign's going to exist. I'm going to develop lore. And I'm going to develop story and monsters and whatnot that fits into that and feeds them in to think about how this is a whole world. But is that campaign detail necessary? No, it's not. Right?
Yeah.
So we don't need to overwhelm ourselves with that. So while we're looking at this painting metaphor with the layers and the details and whatnot, asking yourself, what is the big picture? And if you're new, it's too big. I'm going to go on another limb here.
Yeah.
But unilaterally, the big picture that you're picturing is too big for you to handle.
You don't even know. You don't even know it.
Right? And that's okay, because we're young and we're full of energy and we're full of mirth. And that's great. But we haven't set the most important thing. And this is the mistake that I have made so many times, and you probably have as well.
Who are the players?
Is we'll get players. Is the scope.
Yes.
Define your scope.
Yes.
Right? Where is it taking place? What is it going to look like? What, even within the world, on that whole rolled out sheet of cookie dough, I'm still going to cut out the shapes to make the cookies. And the players are going to enjoy the cookies, not the rolled out dough.
Right.
Right? That's what we need to look at. And pro tip, you're still too big. Even after you've narrowed it down, that is still not fat trimmed, not kind of necessarily table ready, not necessarily presentation wrapped up in a bow. That scope is probably too big.
I mean, it might be a good problem to have. Maybe better than being too small.
You can always add.
Yeah.
But if you get too overwhelmed, right, and then you don't feel like you've put enough time or effort or detail into things, and people are smashing through things that they shouldn't have, or whatever it is, whatever feedback or criticisms you're getting maybe later down the road that you didn't expect because you didn't spend enough time where we should have spent the time.
I changed my mind. Too big, too small, it's fine. As long as you're doing it.
Correct.
Really. You'll figure it out.
Trust the process.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
But in general, we do start too big. When we set our first scope, also probably too big.
How many scopes do you want from me?
A microscope.
A macroscope.
So when we get going, right, you can ask yourself, what did I do wrong as we go through this? And it's probably you got overwhelmed in your first. Don't listen to him. He's wrong. He's that little bad guy on your shoulder. Get
Gary
away.
Oldman, be quiet. Stop it.
What did Gary Oldman do?
He's the one who says that in his movie. It's
the Gary Oldman movie starring Gary Oldman. Directed by
every single one of his movies.
All the Gary Oldman movies.
The Professional. He didn't say it in all his other movies, but it goes in his mind. Yeah, it's one microphone tab. Everything. No, you don't remember that? Okay.
Yeah.
Just
so the truth is that we should be aiming small.
You know.
You know about Gary Oldman. I apparently don't know about Gary Oldman, except that he's there. Anyway, so yes, the truth is that we should try and aim a little bit smaller than we think.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Especially for scope and where we're going. That big picture, make that big picture a little bit smaller.
Yeah. Like this, I think is good. We'll cut down a little bit.
Right, because we can always pad it out and we can add back in.
Yes.
But for the first kind of cuts, for that kind of originating what the garment is going to look like at the end, we have to trim it out from the roll, right? And they say it all the time in shooting, aim small, miss small. That doesn't mean aim for a small target so that you miss the whole thing by a little bit.
Yeah.
That means that if you aim for a small target, that you're going to miss the little target and still hit the big target.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right?
Okay.
Instead of missing the whole thing entirely by a little bit.
Yeah, because I thought that means you also achieve small too, but I get it now. No. I get it.
We're aiming small so that we hit our target. And if we're a little bit outside of bounds, because we're 101, because we're building our experience and our skill and our skills in doing this, almost hitting the bullseye is pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome, right? Even coming close, especially on your first try, or especially on the first time that you're trying a new set of skills or a new thing at the table, almost nailing it right out of the gate, pretty awesome feeling.
Well, and you're talking about defining your scope. It's so important to do that because your scope is your target, the whole thing. Without setting your scope first, you don't know if you've hit or not. You're just sort of willy-nilly. Is it I'm doing good? Am I doing bad? Or do I have to get closer? Closer to what? I don't know. You need that scope first.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I like it.
And we've talked about some of that stuff before in some of our other ones. So we encourage you to go back and watch some of our campaign stuff.
Definitely.
But the thing that I really want to impress here is just that big picture that we're looking at. Narrow down what it is that we are going to flush out. Narrow down what it is, that campaign question that we want to answer, the area that they're going to explore. Don't necessarily have them traipsing all over if we don't need that, right? Shut out travel. It's got to absolutely be necessary. And I'm not going to go too deep, right? Once again, we're 101ing. But I do want to kind of leave you with the idea of that perfect bite that we keep bringing up.
Love it.
You should be able to ascertain what that flavor,
Je ne sais quoi.
that aroma is going to be,
Yes.
and you can hone in on it, right? Like a demon slayer. You can get in there. Oh, you know if you know.
I don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't know. He doesn't even play. That's what we're trying to look for, is to find that core nugget of the inspiration that's guiding you, to set that as like a North Star, so you can follow that all the way in to hit that small target, to hit that star a million miles away, right? That's what we're looking for. And in order to do that, we got to give our campaign a little high five. But I'm going to talk about that. Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
What's the sound of one man high-fiving himself? Sean.
Yeah. It's a pretty awesome sound.
That's why we have a screen as DMs. So we're back there just patty caking. Just patty caking the whole time. Yeah.
The players are RPing.
Yes. I made them do that. I made them do that. Yeah. So I think to leave you and pass it on, because I know, Sean, you've got stuff to talk about here as well, probably more than me. But what you see is not what you get when you start the creative arts, right? It's all about adding those layers, changing, fixing, removing, adding back in, right? The initial creation is probably not what your Frankenstein is going to look like.
Right.
Or your monster, your Frankenstein. Real masters are the ones that have done this so often that they make these changes look graceful and without effort. That skill is hiding. Yeah, is hiding all those friction and the bumps that you're discovering now. You're supposed to hit these bumps. You're supposed to hit brick walls, in quotations, in your mind, because you have to. Yeah. And you will learn more from that and become stronger in the long run.
Well, your first step, you're messing up. That's an important step because you have to mess up.
Yes.
You have to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think you might be messing up right now.
Oh.
If your first step isn't to, after this nice long break, to subscribe, to like this particular video, to go back to basics, the basics of YouTube.
The basics.
Feed the algorithm.
I like it.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay.
And talking about the perfect bite, though, after, how easy is that? Like, subscribe, done, right?
Oh.
But finding that perfect bite is more difficult, I think. Right? Like you say, start small, and it seems easy.
Maybe.
But it's
big to small, small
not
to big.
Necessarily,
It's in there. You got to find it.
Just because it's small doesn't mean it's necessarily easy to do that.
Yes.
Right? You might be saying, how do I find that one nugget that is what my campaign is about? Because it could be about anything. Right? And I think I'm going to talk about that. I think I really want to sit on that. I like that idea.
Okay.
Because I think another way of saying, instead of saying like a big and small, I want you guys to think about it as simple and complex.
Oh.
Right? We want to avoid complexity right at the beginning and start simple. Right? But simple, as you may or may not know, is actually more difficult than complex.
What are you doing, Sean? What are you doing
when it comes to designing stuff?
Yes, especially as an end product.
Exactly. Yeah. You look at Apple phones; they're so simple; it just works. But there's so much work to making it so simple.
Many sweatshops.
Right? There's complexity in the simplicity, in the designing of the simplicity.
Yes.
Right. So it's not easy. So what I want to talk about is this idea of small scope, like we talked about, but big ideas. Right? You don't have to settle for a cheap campaign. Okay?
Yeah.
You want, you can.
I'm going to need this campaign done by 5 p.m. today.
You don't have to, right? Because you might be saying, I just want to have some adventurers go and just kill some wolves and then go back to town. That's my adventure. And while it is fun,
welcome to the Hounds of
and I don't want to call it cheap, and that's what you like, you can have it, fine. Right? But you don't have to settle for just that. Just because you're new at this and you don't feel like you can do more. Right? You don't have to have more content per se. You can add bigger ideas
per se,
because they're wolves.
Because they're wolves. Oh, okay. Not furries.
If that's your thing, I'm not gonna judge publicly.
You're not safe from judgment anyway, but we're still your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to say that. Self-censoring right here. So you don't have to settle for a cheap, shallow campaign just because of your idea for what you want your party to do is simple. Right? You can have big ideas in there. So what does that mean, right? How do you put a big idea into something so simple as just going off and hunting some wolves in the forest for a one shot? Right? What you want to do is flesh out your theme before you even start building actual things in your campaign. Before you're like, oh, I want wolves, I want a town, I want a forest. Think about the themes, right? There are a lot of reasons for doing this ahead of time. Okay? Because setting a theme before you even start off with any of the details of what things are in your campaign, it's sort of what the idea of what your campaign is all about, that nugget of that perfect bite, right? You want to have a clear theme that provides sort of this unifying thread that ties together all the elements of your world building.
Ooh.
Right?
Okay.
It sounds, like I said, complex, but a theme is actually really simple. It's not easy to do, but it's simple. Right?
What are your broad stroke examples of themes?
A theme could be something as simple as, or is it maybe called banal, but it's not, good versus evil.
Okay.
Right? Or the nature of bravery. Right? Very simple idea.
Common concepts as well, right?
But they're very deep. They're big ideas.
There's a lot to explore.
Right? So that's a quick and dirty example of themes, right? So themes add meaning to your writing and they add depth to it. It's like, why are we hunting wolves? Right? What are we trying to explore here? Right? Themes give your story a sense of purpose, sort of beyond that surface level events. Like I said, it's not just hunting wolves anymore.
Right.
Players can then connect with your campaign at a deeper level.
Okay.
Right. And potentially derive maybe personal insights or interpretations from sort of the meaning of your campaign.
Right.
Right. It also, as a DM, guides your choices during your world building process. You're like, oh, what should I have in my campaign? Well, your theme will sort of inform those decisions for you. It can be your guide, so you're no longer a guideless guide. Okay? Having a clear theme is this sort of the guiding principle, sort of to help you make sure that your decisions that you're making for your world building are in line and the overall message that's giving is the same one. So it's not like sort of grabastic and doesn't make sense together. Right? So theme, right? That's great, but how do you do it? Right? Sean, you're saying it's so complex. How do you do it?
How do you do it, Sean?
Right? It helps to know what you want on the campaign.
Oh, that's what I said.
You did. But it also helps to know what your players are interested in. Right? Because you want your players to be also interested in the theme that you are doing, that your campaign is going to have. You don't have a campaign at this point, but if you have players, talk to them. Text or whatever, make a session -1. Is that a thing? Session -1, -2, whatever.
There's Godzilla -1, so you can have a session -1.
I guess so.
Yeah.
We'll see.
If he can do it.
Welcome to Godzilla -1, guys. What? But if you don't want to have something sort of formalized, like let's do a campaign -1, you do it informally, right? It's kind of
course.
You might want to call it pre-production market research, so to speak.
Or
right?
Hanging out with your friends.
What? You have those?
What? Yes.
So while you're doing that, you want to identify your campaign's main message or question that it's asking. And whether it's a one-shot or long year, 2-year, 5-year, 10-year long campaign, right?
Good luck.
Yeah. So when you're together, reflect on your ideas. What ideas and concepts inspire you or your players? What themes resonate with you personally? Or what message do you want to convey through your campaign? Right? The players can do the same thing through their players, but definitely because your campaign is kind of like the DM character, you want to do that. Okay? You want to come up with a bunch of ideas. And we talked about like maybe your themes could be redemption or identity, love and sacrifice, power, corruption, coming of age. What else?
I think you can go back to like
putting you on the spot there.
No, you can go back to those kind of, once again, broad aspects of like man versus world, world versus man. Sometimes is very different when you start approaching that. Large concepts that we kind of throw around, pride.
Oh, yeah.
Equality, prosper,
equity,
right? What it means to fight the big guy, what it means to fight for the little guy, what it means to secure the little guy. Like there's
what does it mean to be friends?
What does it mean to be free? Right? What is it? Right? Like there's so many, like look up any virtuous word. Right. And you could write 1,000 campaigns exploring those ideas. Right. And very simple versions of that, very complex versions of that.
Yeah.
Right. You can kind of go any which way you want. Explore emotions. What is anger? Or how is anger manifested in the woods? How is anger manifested in society, in nature, right? Whatever it is, so many things you can do. Especially in the fantasy sort of rubric. Yeah. Right?
Well, and then gather all your ideas, write it down.
Oh, I love writing them down.
Ooh, or type it out. Voice memos, up to you.
Find your medium muse. Me is writing.
Oh, medium. Oh, like the medium in which you put down ideas.
Yeah, not like the big,
large, small, medium. The medium one.
Your however you process things. If that's digitally, right, is writing out.
Get the Vente muse, please.
I'll get a Vente muse. 2 shots of inspiration. Right. If for me, that's writing, and it doesn't matter. And I've discovered this, and thank goodness, but I can either handwrite or I can type out. Both of those work for me. And there's a plug. And once you pull the cork where you find that, then you or I just start creating.
Yes.
But it's that
makes it official.
It's that first action of popping the cork, and that's writing the first few words or getting the idea that you're working out, and it just spawns more and more and more.
Yeah, not just thinking. Now it's doing.
Now it's doing.
So get a list, write it down, put it out there in the world.
Check it twice.
Identify the core themes.
Gonna find out who's TPK
that are in that list. Right? Once you do that, it's time to narrow down your focus to 1 or 2 core themes that you and your table want to explore in your stories, in your campaign.
Nice.
Right?
That's even more complicated.
It's
difficult. That gives you even more options when you take 2 of those buzzwords and you draw the Venn diagram and what.
It's not complicated. It's difficult.
It's difficult. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's also then unique.
Yeah. Right. Your core theme should be broad enough to provide depth and sort of resonance, but specific enough to guide your design decision. Right? You're like, I want to, I don't know, what's my core theme? Existence. But what about existence? Existence on its own is nothing, right?
Sure.
But the meaning of existence, or what is existence, is a little more specific. Right? So broad enough that you have lots to explore, but specific enough so you know what you're exploring. Okay. I like to take these themes and form them into questions.
Per se.
Right? This way, the players get to explore themes for what resonates with them. Because it's a question they can ask themselves now. Like, what do I think of that question? Well, what's the answer for me?
Right.
And then this makes your campaign personally meaningful for each of your players. Right? So then it's a depth that we're talking about.
Correct.
So again, if the theme is love and sacrifice, maybe your question could be, is sacrifice necessary for love? Or something along those lines. Or does power corrupt? Instead of just power and corruption. What about it? Does power corrupt? Now we have a direction to go with this theme. Right? This takes a bit of work, this whole process, but I guarantee that it will make the rest of your campaign building smoother.
Oh, yes.
Just get over this initial hump. Okay. The results of your building will be richer. The players will care about it more. money, cash. No, richer in ideas and value. Okay.
Make it rain.
Right?
Impact.
Once you have this, add some fun characters, locations,
Right.
and counters to the mix, and you're golden.
Yeah.
So simple. So simple.
Yeah, it's like we don't even have to have a podcast about this where we break into all of these individual things because they're all so complex.
Right? That's out of the scope of what I want to talk about today.
Yes.
But
trim that fat.
get your theme set.
Yes.
It's so important before you start any of the world building. Right? Yeah.
It's actually kind of interesting because I feel like our roles are a little bit reversed in this moment. Because I'm talking about more creative things and you're talking about like check your work. Set your foundational stone so that the farther you get away from it, the more you can check and make sure that everything's in line. Right?
Well, I think true creativity requires restrictions. Let me know what you think in the comments. But yeah, without some kind of restriction, you can't be truly creative. You're just playing around now.
That's like a whole episode unto itself.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could talk about that. But that's
I don't know if it's a hot take. I don't know what it is, but I think that.
interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So creativity requires. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna give that one a thumbs up, folks. Because that's
2 thumbs up.
That's
Caffeine Cantrips.
Yeah. I think that's reiterating a little bit of what we talked about before in setting the scope, right? If you have no restrictions, you can do anything. Well, here comes analysis paralysis. Like, what do I do? Well, you can do anything. Yeah, but what do I do?
And you don't do anything.
And then you don't do anything because there's too much.
Well, and the minute you put something down to paper, you've restricted yourself.
It's true.
Right.
It's true.
And it's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
You need to.
That is a good thing. No, I like that idea specifically for this idea of 101. Getting started, new, veteran, whatever.
New, veteran, whatever. That one's definitely a whatever.
And all the people not on cushions. I think that it's important that there is that idea of what we are doing and what we are not doing, right? And one doesn't have to define the other, but they generally do. Right. And as we go into it, the more we define what we are and what we are not doing, the clearer picture that we have.
Yes.
And the clearer picture we have, the more that we can double check and see that we're on track and we're on.
Stay on target.
So I really like that. I really like that. I like that essentially what you're saying in
what am I saying? Tell me what I'm saying.
Is Aladdin had it right.
Oh,
that you have.
I can show you the world.
No, other part. It's the phenomenal cosmic power.
Was that part of the movie?
In an itty bitty living space.
Oh, the genie.
The genie.
Aladdin.
The movie's Aladdin.
Yes.
The book is 1,001.
Anyways,
done with this guy. I want to say that you said it very briefly. But the campaign is a character in the story too.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And we have to ask, who are they? And as who are they? Right?
I like it.
I think this really directly builds on what you just said. So we need to get to know them, and however we've defined it, are they those concepts? Are they the question?
Take them out for coffee, have a good conversation.
Do a little master dating. It's
right. No kissing on the first date, or maybe
no kissing for 3 months. That's the TikTok doctor's rule. So
really, I have no idea what that is. Let me know in the comments. I missed that trend.
So if we're learning lessons as we go, or if we've already learned lessons and we've started to pare down what it is that we're planning out, right? Whether it's our first time or our 100th time, we get to know them, this new character that we're creating, right? And we have to ask them questions. And I think the questions can help define, like we were just talking about, what are we talking about and what are we not talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So we can ask, what is their story? Right? What is their history like?
Yeah.
Right? Where do they belong? Right? Is this a story of good and evil in the medieval ages, in the modern age, in the future, in a primitive age, right? With Neanderthals and dinosaurs, right? Like what does good and evil mean if you're running away from a T-Rex, right?
Human fighter, what do you say?
There is a game like that. And there's only like 7 things that you and the DM are allowed to say. I don't get in the comments for me. Let me know what that is. It's like 7 things you're allowed to say. Anyway, we'll find it. It's awesome. Jack Thock's in there. Who are their friends?
The campaign's friends?
Who are the campaign's friends? What ideas are adjacent to them, but not them?
Oh.
Right? What circle do they live within?
Byron is adjacent to me, but not me.
When does it happen? Once again, right? Where does it belong? Does this belong? Before we could ask, does this belong in high society? This question, low society, right? Now we can define the time. When does it happen? Now you could simplify that to be, does this happen daytime? Nighttime, right? Is this vampire high school heist, right? Oh, well, they go to school during the day, but at night they all turn into vampires and they rob banks.
They're like were-vampires.
Yeah, or daywalkers, whatever. But they only get their vampire powers at night.
Oh, okay. During the day they just sparkle.
During the day they just...
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Team Edward.
Central themes.
So exactly, right? And lastly, right, looping it back in so that it is a hook for us as the DM or the game master or the whatever.
Yes.
Does this story bring you joy? The Mary Kondo rule, right? Are you excited
if not, throw it out.
Create a platform to explore this? Right, because you're not necessarily running the game once those nasty little players get in there, right? But you've set the platform, you've created the sandbox, whatever it is for them to explore this. But it has to bring you joy as well. You have to be interested and invested in this, right? So, like we said, it's so much. It's so big, right? Maybe it's hard to find that spark of joy in there. Maybe it's hard to find that nugget.
You know what?
Right?
It's not as easy as it seems.
It gets easier with practice.
Yep.
Right? That's probably one of the truest things I've ever said. Because I lie all the time.
Liar! Am I lying right now by being...
I never lie to you.
I always lie to you.
One of the barriers that we can experience at this point when we're asking these questions, when we're trying to get to know our campaign as that character in of itself, right, is we can get creatively atrophied. Yeah, mummify them creative things, right? It happens. It happens from underuse. It happens from neglect. It happens from a lot of things telling us creative stuff, but not encouraging ourselves to become the creator. Right? Like, for instance, I don't know, kids don't necessarily do as many coloring books as they used to now, because now there's more like tap and color on the iPad or whatever, right? You're not like drawing in all the lines and doing all the stuff. There's some benefit to being a creative person. And you have to work at that, or else those things don't work or they take time to come back.
It's like trying to podcast after a month off.
It's like trying to podcast after a month off. It's like Neo coming out of the Matrix where he knew how to walk and breathe and whatnot, but it was all wrong and he had to learn how to redo it in a different light.
Oh.
Right? So you can consume this media, right?
It's like, shoot me. Just watch this.
Just watch it.
No, I don't think it's a good idea. Just shoot me. Just shoot me.
I got this.
I got this.
Does he know it's an electric gun? Shh, just hit him. Give him the juice. It's
the juice.
That's a different Matrix. Right? So these things, I can watch anime, I can watch movies, I can watch this, I can play board games, but make one. Oh, I don't know how to do that, right? And that's fair, right? We have to build that up. So how do we bypass that creative atrophy or that creative lethargy and fatigue that we can develop? Okay. Right? Copy from things that you like. Copy from so much stuff.
Steal it.
That it becomes original content because you've mixed so much stuff together.
That's all original content is, really.
That's another truth, right?
Right.
Take from so many points of inspiration, mix it together. It is now yours. Nobody else has done it the way that you're doing it. So copying, not plagiarizing,
Right.
copying is
I forget what famous artist said. Amateurs copy, professionals or experts steal.
masters. I don't know.
Some are master steal.
Yeah.
Master stealers, right?
Yeah.
You just steal everything and it's yours now, and then you
Right.
can just regurgitate it back
Yeah.
as something wonderful and different.
Yeah.
Different. Quote,
Use
unquote.
that. Use the things that you already like. Use the things, and I've said this before, but use the things that give you motivation to give you miles down the road of work, right? Of just recreating, but recreating in your light. Right?
Right.
That's okay. That's justified. That's awesome.
Right. Like clowns are copying something, right? Furries are also copying something.
Yeah.
But if you put clown furries in the forest, it's something that no one's ever done before. And you can explore that.
Hunting wolves.
Should you be brave enough to do so?
Should you be brave enough? That's the only time you can be brave, Sean. The other thing that we could do, moving on from that,
Terrified.
is using things that we already understand. So not just things that we like, but using things that we understand. So if you work as a park ranger, we understand how forests work.
The worst class.
Forest ranger, not ranger, forest ranger playing a ranger. Come on, man.
A meta
Come on.
ranger.
Come on, man. It's super important, once again, that we can draw, because we can only create from what we know anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
lean into that. Use your strengths. Maybe you are a workhorse and you can just churn out content, but editing is your issue. Okay, great. Churn out content and then practice editing.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe you edit like a whiz, but it's that initial stage of creating. Well, practice just creating. Right?
Yeah.
And we'll get back to that anyway.
Just barf it out.
Another way that we can do it is, instead of trying to move forward towards our goal,
Move backwards away
is
from your
to
goal.
turn around and ask why.
Oh, I was right.
Not to go back,
I didn't think I was right.
but to look at what we've done before that's led us to this position and ask, why did we do that? And
What did we
if we know why we did that, and we know why we did the step before that, and we know why we did the step before that, we should be able to, with that short mediation or meditation of what's going on, be able to figure out what the next step should be. Right? It's not just doing it, but understanding the why, adding more of that value to these decisions, to
Mhm.
these words, will give you the steps. It'll tell you what you should do next.
It's totally the Byron way of thinking.
It is totally the Byron
Yeah.
way of thinking.
But there's a lot of you out there. Mostly people are like that. I think.
Introduced by Sean. That's because we have Superior. It's going to benefit you by tracing your own steps. And if you have to hit that kind of creative wall a few times by kind of chicken dancing back and forward against it, eventually you will find the loose spot, that weakness in the armor.
Yeah.
And you'll punch through. And that's just time.
The weakness in the armor. Keyword weakness. Quote that. Find the quote. The something in the armor. And think about me.
Weakness is what I said. Algorithm safe.
I love it.
And this is why I said originally,
Okay.
you need to high five your campaign. Thank you. This is 5 things that I think are extremely important when you're creating it.
A list of
I
things.
love
How
my
YouTube.
lists.
How YouTube.
I got back to my lists. Number 1, how appropriate.
5 things on how to high five your campaign.
This is the high five of the campaign.
Okay.
You should work on these 5 things.
Okay.
Right?
That's why it's high five.
High five. Ba-ba. Setting and theme.
Yes.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
That's the
100%.
first thing that will help guide you in a certain way and inform your decisions. Oh, I want a detective noir story. Okay, we got clowns. Noir clowns? Okay, let's see where we're going with this.
Algorithm safe.
Algorithm safe. Why? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this to us?
I'm a visible minority. That's the one.
It's important that you are who you are.
Yeah.
And we let you in here. I totally interrupt. Noir. These sorts of themes will guide you in what feels like it belongs, what doesn't feel like it belongs. And maybe sometimes the things that don't belong, you can put in there and now it is uniquely yours. You've never seen it done before. Doesn't mean it can't be done. Maybe you should try it.
Right. Okay.
Maybe you don't want to try it, but you can write that down and put it aside, just like that endless binder of character sheets that you have. And now you've got more themes, more ideas to revisit later.
That's a guaranteed way of how to be unique or different, is just mixing two themes that don't seem to go together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's harder than it looks to blend those together.
Yeah.
But so this is knowing your guy. This is knowing your campaign as a guy. Dude, I know a guy, right? This is how you like to get to know your guy. I like to get to know my guy through boundless brainstorming, where I can sit and look at a whiteboard and then just ponder and let the ideas come to me. Let it percolate, let it sit. And then sometimes serendipitously, the best idea I've ever had springs into my mind and I cannot get to the keyboard fast enough to write it down and it's gone. Damn. Voice recorder. Hell yeah. We figure out what works for us.
I just stare at a blank wall and I just dig into one idea in my brain until I find what it is. And it's like hours.
Yeah.
Or days usually. And then I go, this
months.
That's me.
Months.
That's me.
And this is the hard part.
Yes.
Right? Both of us have just given you examples of how we do things. The major component is time. You don't just sit down and write masterpieces. Maybe you do. Maybe you're Stephen King. Even he doesn't. He does 3 pages a day. I can write more than 3 pages a day. Can I write 3 pages of Stephen King quality?
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
Some days I sure can. Some days, at least I think I can. Anyway, this is the hard part, and it does require time. And the better you get at it, does not necessarily mean the faster it goes. Because what we were talking about before,
it doesn't.
We can handle simple things at the beginning, then we can start handling complex things, then we can handle complex things that look simple. And we can handle simple things that look complex.
Yes.
Right? And those don't necessarily take less time. They don't necessarily take more time, but it still takes time. This is the hard part, is that creation of content. Okay? That's one, setting and theme. Number 2 is the story that you want to tell. This is the plot and the story arc.
Oh, what's going to happen?
What's going to happen? What is the question that we're asking? What is the idea that we're exploring? And I think I got those 2 backwards in order. What is the idea that we're exploring? What is the question that we want to ask? Right.
And what about the story beats that we kind of want to hit?
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. This is where we're still in broad strokes. We're not into definitions yet. Right. But this is where we can start adding colors onto the palette of what we're going to do. Right. So this is developing a compelling main storyline. Compelling to who? Compelling to you. Compelling to Godzilla -1.
Yep.
Compelling to whoever you talk to, whoever wants to play this. We can add their story hooks in. Second, you're number 1. Treat yourself. Okay?
Well, you have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of other people.
And that allows us to start with passion. That allows us to start with that energy that will take us through that really hard section right at the beginning of creation.
Yes.
And drive into the golden meadows of happiness and fun.
Absolutely.
Right? But we got to get through there. We can also then use the storyline to reinforce the setting and the theme that you picked.
Yes.
Oh, it's a noir detective thing. Sorry, I keep going back to that. Great. I'm going to make this just a dungeon crawl. What are you detecting? What's the mystery? Like how far they can get into the pit of despair before they die?
No, there's a femme fatale that sparks off at the inn at the beginning that sends them off.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's raining all the time in the dungeon.
In the dungeon.
There's water everywhere.
I think we built this under Link's water temple.
And monologues, inner monologues all the time.
All the time. Characters are not allowed to speak to each other. They can just internally monologue.
They can speak.
And you have to roll
through body language, just monologue.
I'm going to play a Saurian. What? They communicate through smell. Sorry, we do that here. So yes, use that story to reinforce the setting, right? Like we asked before, does it belong here, right? What time does this need to happen at? Great. These sorts of things compact together
all the time
to make an awesome 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
Number 3, you also mentioned this before. So this is recap for you all. NPCs and factions. Right? These are your hookers and your pushers.
You didn't just...
These are the people who give the hooks to the characters to get them onto your story.
So what you're saying is NPCs are prostitutes and factions are drug dealers.
No. That's not at all what I just said. No.
That's what I heard.
Okay. Well...
So what you heard, I think that's what you heard too. Hookers and pushers.
Tell him how wrong he is, or if I'm wrong. But yes,
I like my way better.
These are the things that will help bring your players and attach them to the story.
Well, I'll say
we've talked about how to build NPCs. We've talked about how to build organizations. Right. This is how you integrate them in. This is how you have conversations with those people that are going to be your players. What interests you in this story? When I say epic fantasy, what does that mean to you? When I say M. Night Shyamalan, what does that mean to you? When I say ice cream, what does that mean to you? Right? Because I want to combine those 3 things into a story.
Oh.
Perhaps. Epic fantasy, Shyamalan, ice cream.
Surprise ice cream at the end.
What a twist. It
was a liver the whole time. Ha! Or you were the ice cream.
You were the ice cream the whole time. Yeah. See, self-censoring. It's good. It's at this point, a flag on the play.
Oh. Ta-da.
Beware your inner critic. This is where we're starting to get into the detail phase of how we go through things.
Yep.
Broad strokes, setting and theme, the plot, the story arcs that we kind of are starting to figure out in our head. Who are the NPCs or the players within those story arcs, within that? Right? Oh man, this guy sucks. Oh man, I could do better there. Oh, no one's going to like this. Oh, I could do better. Beware that inner voice.
Beware.
What we're asking you to do, what I've asked you to do from the beginning is understand that you've already made mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
I've already made mistakes. We've all made mistakes.
This is already a mistake.
This is already a mistake. I need more pointing because there's 4 back at me. Know that. Forgive that. Accept that. Whatever verbiage you want to use around that particular idea. And push through because you have permission to.
Don't accept it. Just do it because it's necessary.
Yeah, just it's there. Okay, whatever. Right. I suppose as a form of acceptance, as opposed to, yeah, you're right. I am doing this wrong. I am doing this bad. I should not be a DM. It's too hard. It's too scary.
Right.
It's too whatever.
Yeah.
Not that sort of acceptance. Just like meditation or yoga, breathe your way through it. Allow the thing to move on because that voice isn't you. And we've talked about that a lot as well. Right. That's not you. That's your fear of success. It doesn't want you to be powerful, all powerful cosmically. Yeah. But you will get there. So accept that it doesn't know how awesome you are yet. And you're working on that. Okay. Don't let it stop you because what you have to tell, your story is one that only you can tell. We want that out there.
Yep. Definitely.
Number 4, as we move down, if this is a one shot, probably very easy. If this is a 5-year-long campaign that you're trying to tackle as your first one,
who plans for a 5-year-long campaign?
Go get them. Well, we started with a tea party and we just added dice and stuff. And now I'm 10 years old and I've been running D&D for.
I started playing checkers with one friend and then we just kept adding rules and now it's a 5-year-long campaign. D&D. Yeah. There's classes and stuff in there now.
My favorite's the Nerf round. Encounters and challenges.
Okay.
Right. This falls after our NPCs and factions because now we need to plan a variety of encounters and challenges that our players are going to encounter. Right. Are they robbing a bank? If yes, a challenge is the bank vault,
Right.
right? That's something that I need to be there to complete my theme and my setting, right? This is a heist. They're trying to steal something. Something is protecting the thing that they want to steal. Oh, this makes perfect sense.
Right.
Right. And we can look back, like we said before, and make sure that this is in line because we can. So do that. Plan a variety of encounters, and you can go check our other stuff. Encounters can be meeting with the shopkeeper that you're about to extort for a 60% off.
Typical.
Let them do it. Let your players do it. Just whatever.
Here's your dagger for 4 copper.
The guards will get them, and you make sure that. This is where you can make sure that you plan those role play encounters.
Yeah.
Where it is just talking, where it gives you a break to listen and see what the characters are interested in, right? But that's still far away, right? Talking, by the way, can take forever. You can let your PCs just chat and chat and chat. The movies lie to you.
They do.
Well,
they're experts at dialogue, so they hide all the
little stuff, all the thinking, all the cogitating, all the informational mastication that's going on, all the ums and the
all the rehashing, all the lame, stupid stuff that's inconsequential.
Let them cook.
Yeah.
Just let them cook. Right. Yeah. But anyway, but understand that as we're building this is number 4, remember, encounters and challenges. What challenges belong with the factions, with the NPCs?
Okay.
Right. In the story, in the theme, right? We're building it out. And last but not least, the thumb is how fast do you want to get through this? This is the session structure and pacing. Are you attempting to create a 5-year campaign? Are you attempting to create a 5-episode campaign?
Right.
Are you trying to create a 5-hour campaign?
Am I trying to do 2 encounters every session, 5 encounters every session, once every 2 sessions? Yeah.
Once again, broad stroke this because you don't know how long it takes to get through a combat, a negotiation.
Well, and every table's different.
A bikini episode. Beach episode, sorry. Not bikini.
What? I mean, typically.
Could be a bikini episode. Right.
Doesn't have to be on the beach.
What were you going to say? Typically.
Oh, I think I said it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't listen.
He never does.
We don't know what that's going to look like yet, but what we can do is figure how much content do I want to create? Scope down, right?
Yeah.
Am I planning on making a 5-year campaign? Oh, probably not. Okay.
Probably.
Do I want to create a campaign that starts with low-level characters that if everyone likes what's going on and I like what's going on, I'll leave an open ending so that I can create the next adventure?
Yes.
Oh, I do want to do that. I do want to have it so that at the end of this, at the end of my sessions, there is a structure that has an open ending that we can continue playing these characters and I can continue running the game. That's important to me. Right. Okay, great. Now I can go back up a step, encounters and challenges. There needs to be an encounter at the end that leaves that to be continued.
Right. Cliffhanger.
Right. This is why we're building them in this particular structure.
Yeah.
Right. So know where you thought you'd be. Is what I'm trying to say in this. Yes, I thought this was going to take you 2 sessions to get through. It's been 73. I think it
was 5 years. We've been playing for our entire lives. We're in the old folks' home now.
Maybe you play every day at lunch at school, and that's okay. This is 73 days of playing. Because everything that you've seen has been like 4 or 5 hours solid things on Twitch or
and now you're doing like 30 minutes.
And now you're trying to do it in 30-minute segments, and it's hard. It's crazy, right? Figuring out if you're early, if you're late, if you're on time in your planning. Understand that you don't know how to plan yet, and that's not a dig. Even when I set up sessions, and I kind of put a block around sessions, I still have no control of what the players are going to do or what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
Or if one's actually going to turn into 3, or what I believed was enough prep for, the next 4 or 5 sessions was like half a session because they decided to go left. And I forgot
Hey,
left.
Sean, you can rejoin the party with your character at City C. They're going to be there after this next session. Oh, Sean, they They didn't go to City
They
C.
didn't go to City C.
at
You're out.
all.
You're out. We're not gonna.
Let's wait a couple months. They're still talking.
Yeah, they're still talking, man. I'm so sorry. So I think one of the things that we can give ourselves permission on here is late is great.
Mm.
Late is great because they're probably your players taking more time to absorb what you've done, right? To enjoy and dig into. Probably there's going to be times when it's not and they're confused and they don't know because they didn't understand your hooks because you gave them a grade 3 puzzle instead of a kindergarten puzzle. Whatever it is. Late is generally great, but still ask yourself, why are they not moving fast enough? Am I not giving enough clues? Am I not giving enough? Has there not been enough stuff in there for them to get their teeth into so that they can move forward to this heist?
Mm-hmm.
Did I make an impregnable vault? Oops.
Right.
Shoot, I didn't mean to make it that hard.
Right.
Oh, okay. Edit.
Yeah.
Right? Learn for the
scramble,
future.
scramble, dance, tap dance.
Tap dance. That's what I call it, the tap dance. But these are the things, that's the high five that I think that you need to 101 your way through into a brilliant starter campaign or a very functional guide in how you can improve as a veteran to pick a spot on that chain and develop that further. Because just like the idea of freedom, right? I can say organizational development, go. And a veteran can be like, how many? 17. And you're like, across the world? No. In a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay, right? And you're just like,
in Detroit.
Okay. Right? And in Detroit, sure. We can do these things as quote unquote masters, experts, veterans, beginners, newbies, one session under their belt, never rolled a die before. You can do this at a level. And what we're asking you to is to go that one step beyond where your skill level is now.
Oh, yes.
And become one step farther down the road.
Don't be comfortable.
To the next level.
Yeah.
Whatever your next level is, to the next level. And don't stop.
In general, in life anyways, don't be comfortable.
Oh, life lessons.
I
love our life lessons.
We're back. Right? Try your best to always be on the edge of something. Right?
Yeah.
Don't revel in your comfortability, right? Because that means you're stagnant.
And don't look back or else you'll turn into a pillar of salt. But
this is Sodom and Gomorrah.
No, just one. I think that's enough.
Okay.
For like a 101, I think that there's, like I said before, there's merit in this for beginners. There's merit in this for veterans. But this is what I would consider my fundamentals for building these campaigns.
I don't know. I think you're missing one though, right? Because to reiterate, for high five, you have setting and theme.
Yes.
Right. And then you have plot and story arcs, NPCs and factions, encounters and challenges, session structure and pacing, right? There's one more, and that's clicking on the like and subscribe button that you really need to do.
Except the inner critic going, you've listened a lot to this. You should probably hit the like and subscribe for these two poor gentlemen. Just begging for your love.
Begging. If you like the content so far, leave a like, leave a subscribe, and let's keep going with more awesome stuff.
And if we haven't earned your subscribe, jump in the comments and tell us why.
Oh yeah, leave a nasty comment. I love it. Right? I get all the nasty ones anyways.
Yeah. Dude on the left. That's Sean,
right?
Everyone.
Stage
That's
right.
Sean.
Stage right.
Right.
But let's keep going.
Yes.
Right? Because you talked about, I think, step 2, plot and story arcs.
Yes.
And I think when you're on that step, again, I really like the big ideas and setting those idea guides for you. So it's because it's the way I think.
Not me, he means you.
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Right. To set up those guides for you to build around to give you that direction. Right. So when it comes like the story beats, if you want a good story, you need a good premise. Good story, behind it is a good premise. Right? The storyline, your storyline, is only as good as your premise. Okay? You should be able to express the premise of a story That's the central idea of your story
Right.
in 1 or 2 sentences.
Yes.
That's your perfect bite again.
Mhm.
Your perfect story bite. During play, you can keep referring back to it to make sure that you're not wandering off point
Right.
somewhere,
Mhm.
right? Like, is this encounter going to add to the premise or the story or not? Let's refer back to the premise.
Mhm.
What's everything about? What's happening, right?
Mhm.
It'll keep you anchored and moving forward at the same time,
Ooh.
right?
Ooh, that doesn't work in sailing.
No. If you had a good premise, it would though. It helps you avoid meandering and sort of wasteful
Only put
scenes,
the anchor halfway
right?
down.
And time.
Yes.
Again, you have 30 minutes at lunchtime. You can't waste time.
No.
You need a good premise.
Yes.
Right. So it's like, what were we doing? Oh, right. We're doing insert premise sentence.
Yes.
Gently. Insert that premise sentence. So writing a single sentence summary of your story will also let you know if you actually have sort of a complete story idea or just a seed of an idea that still needs more development.
Gently.
Right? If you can break down your story into a sentence or 2 sentences,
Yes.
you're like, yes, this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For example, what's a premise?
Please do.
For example, Simba, Lion King. We like Disney here, right? Simba, heir to all the sun touches, believes that he is responsible for his father's death, runs away and vows never to return and bring shame onto his mother and pride. But his uncle Scar is driving the kingdom into ruin, and soon the pride will die.
It's actually his uncle Trash. But yeah, keep going.
Uncle Trash?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Scar's actual name means trash.
Really?
And then he took the scar because he got the scar from Mufasa.
I have 2 sons. This one is Mufasa. This one, trash.
Trash. Yeah, Mufasa's like father or something. Simba is just lion.
Oh, like the
name-
translation?
The translation of Mufasa.
Oh, I didn't
means
know
his
that.
father. Simba means lion.
What's Scar's African
I
name then?
can't
Like lion name.
Recall.
Non-translated name. Trash, obviously.
Jump in the comments.
Yeah. Google it for me. Okay.
I'm gonna try to remember.
That's the premise for The Lion King.
That's my premise.
Those 2 sentences.
Yeah, sorry, back
Right?
on topic.
Or, here's another
Oh.
one. When Harry Potter, a secret child wizard, enters a magical school, all he wants to do is survive the school and learn magic. But the greatest evil wizard who ever lived wants to steal some MacGuffin and destroy the entire school. Right? That Dumbledore. That's the premise for Harry Potter. Right? If it turns out that you do only have a seed of a story, right? The next part that I'm going to talk about here will help you turn it into something that you can sort of base your campaign around. Like turn your seed into a premise now. Okay?
Okay.
There's something out there in the ether called the 5 major story elements. Let's call it the major story element high 5.
Let's not confuse you, but yes, so many 5s.
Yeah, low 5. Use your toes.
Oh,
Number 1, characters or character. Number 2, situation. 3 is objective. 4 is opponent. And 5 is disaster.
okay.
Okay? Your premise and, by extension, your story should contain all 5 of these elements.
Oh, that's way better. Okay, cool.
Right?
Yes.
Your characters are your player characters, right? And many people believe that every story is an attempt to understand the human condition, right? At this stage, note down 1 defining characteristic of your player characters if you have them already. Okay? Just keep this in your little baggie of goods. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Next is situation. This describes the new situation that characters find themselves in. Right? This is before your campaign even starts.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is not the status quo. So, in other words, not their backstory. It may be the crisis that they find themselves facing after the inciting incident.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so this is something that happens during session 1. Right? This is the new situation they're in. This is what jettisons them out into a life of adventure, or at least this adventure.
Yes. This is also step 2 on the Harmon wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Discover a need, right?
Number 3, objective.
Mm-hmm.
What do the characters, or more importantly, the PC party want? What do they want? This may change over the course of your campaign, and that's without getting into like what they actually need.
Right.
It's what they want.
What they want.
Okay. What we're looking for here is their sort of main external objective once the story gets going.
Oh, the challenge?
Right? What are they going after? What are they trying to do? What do they want? Right? Is it survival? Is it justice? Money? Love? Winning something? Forgiveness? Etc. Right? This can relate to your themes. It may not. Right? It doesn't matter. This is sort of what the objective that you're going to give to the PC party.
And get comfortable.
Party as a whole, try to.
Sure,
right?
sure.
It keeps them together as a party too.
And get comfortable with etc. Because they'll pick that one a lot.
Right? But you can, quote unquote, assign an objective to a party.
You absolutely can.
Right? And you kind of should. That's what brings the party together as a party.
That's the hook that leads you towards.
Yes.
Right?
Hook them together and then they'll hook themselves. Right? Yeah. Be the push of the hookers. Is that what it is? Yeah.
What I heard you say is you're a pimp and you need to make them work.
Maybe I am. Number 4, opponent.
Oh.
Speaking of customers and work, opponent. Everyone loves a good PPG.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone. Conflict. Burn the word conflict into your brain pan. If you want to create a compelling campaign that's going to keep your players chomping at their bits, then your story must be filled with conflict. Right?
Not champing.
Chomping.
Chomping at their bits.
Chomping, because they're not horses.
Right.
Horses champ. People chomp.
If they're centaurs.
Well, that they're manitors.
That's a playable race. Manitor.
Right? Not a centaur, because they have people mouths. But back on topic. Conflict builds tension, excitement, and interest. Like Arlo back and forth.
Yeah. Challenge centaurs to horse races because it's funny.
A lack of conflict is boring, right?
Yeah.
And for a good conflict, you need a good opponent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll see you on Tuesday.
An okay opponent. if you got to make do,
etc.
Yes. There'll probably be multiple opponents. But in our premise that we're designing right now,
pick the...
Yes, we're going to focus on the big bad evil guy. Okay. Remember that the more godlike and powerful your opponent is, the more worried your players will be, the bigger the problem it is for them. And the more thrilled they're going to be to see them defeated or overcome. A character can only be as epic as their opponent is epic. So players want to be epic, right? If you want to let them be epic, you got to make their opponent epic, right? I want to be epic, so I guess I'm going to have to let you be epic too. You're welcome.
You'll let me.
You're welcome, Byron. And lastly, number 5.
I'll be in my fortress.
Disaster.
Oh, yes.
Speaking of Byron.
Beat me to it. Beat me to it.
Your campaign should be a series of ever-increasing peril and conflicts, right? Here, we want to define the hardest challenge your PC party faces at the climax of their story. Okay, at the disaster level. The disaster is usually brought about by the main opponent, right? Think about the stakes so at this stage and make sure that they are high enough for your players to be invested in it.
Right.
Because, that was easy. No problem. You stop caring, like Mary Sue's. He's like, everything's easy. It's got to be big and worrisome so your players can overcome it.
We talked like almost a whole episode about that.
Yes.
Yeah. Hurt them.
So that's your 5 pieces to develop your story. Or your premise, sorry.
Okay. So go back to one of those premises. Can we go back to one of the Simba or the
Simba one.
Harry Potter one?
Sure.
And can you label them out
Absolutely.
in the examples that we have a concrete.
Right. So character, situation, objective, opponent, disaster. Okay. So in our Simba example, the character, of course, is Simba, heir to all the sun touches. Situation is
the light, but yeah.
Oh, my bad. I am an awful Disney fan.
-1 for the hero.
Situation, something to overcome. Character, Simba, heir to all the light touches. Situation, Simba believes that he is responsible for his character's death.
His father's death.
Sorry, yes, his father's death, my bad.
I went in and killed myself and came out a new lion.
Objective, Simba runs away and vows to never return and bring shame on his mother and pride.
Kind of. You're like 0 for 3, but keep going. Because Scar's... No, I like it. Keep going.
The opponent, Uncle Trash.
Uncle Trash.
The disaster is Uncle Scar is driving the kingdom into ruin, and soon the pride will die.
Yes.
So even though Simba's objective is to run away,
Mm-hmm.
he can't because of the disaster.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And there's that tension,
Mm-hmm.
and it builds up in this peril, and it's awesome. It's an awesome epic story.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's
Shout out to Nala.
right. Creating a premise. Simple, but not easy,
No.
but essential.
Yes.
Okay. So that's that.
Mm-hmm.
I hopefully by sort of thinking about these things that we've talked about, you can have enough sort of guidance and feel to go when you're building your campaign. If you've done this, you're like, oh, it becomes so much easier. Because I've got the building blocks, the foundations of my campaign set.
Mm-hmm.
And now I can start filling in those details. I've got the broad strokes in.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
So yeah, I think that's it for me. Yeah.
No, I think that's a lot. You got 2 high fives or a 5 and a foot or whatever it is.
High five and a low five.
Striking together.
I was going to think about showing my feet, but it's not that kind of podcast.
Well, we have a Patreon, so come join us over there. And Sean may or may not.
Oh, wow.
We'll put up a poll over there.
Really?
His feet aren't that nice, but hey, some of you might like them.
No kink shaming.
Nope, not here. As long as you're at our table, you are safe.
Yeah.
I think this encapsulates a great, robust, and
thick.
perhaps specifically targeted, vague in some points and very detailed in some points, idea for a 101. I think we could obviously dig into all of our high five and our low five, and all of that stuff. But if you are new and if you are looking to make the transition from wherever you are to the person sitting on the other side of the table, the lonely post, the fun place,
the good place.
the good place,
which you find out is the bad place.
which you find out is the bad place.
Oh, spoilers, guys.
Great. That's exactly what we need to round out your trifecta of evil over there.
Exactly.
So I think this is really good. That's a robust starter to the conversation. Obviously, you're going to have questions. We are going to have some answers. So shout out to us in the comments. Shout out to us on our Discord.
Oh, we still have one of those.
Yes, we do. They don't expire after a month. And come join us. Shoot these things at us. We are here to help you. We are here to help you build and make that transition as successfully as you can. Because that will bring more goodness to this world that we enjoy so much.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think I'm good. I think you're good. Not like in the good and evil sense.
I can only be as good as you are good.
Awesome. Well, good luck in catching up. Nonetheless, good Byron over here.
Epic Sean here.
The gauntlet has been tossed. We are Caffeine and Cantrips, and hoping that you have a great new start to your campaign.
And we'll see you next time. Or else. Phone's on silent?
Yeah, probably.
It always is.
I make it silent when when I'm at work. Shut up. Tell you. Shut the f up. Does my memory mock me? Shut the f up, Shakan. That's a great line, too. We don't have time. I will mock you.